Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Mountain Harmony Gardening. I'm Kristen, and today we are going to be planting, and we're going to be using the Three Sisters method. I learned about the Three Sisters method when I went to Mesa Verde in Colorado. They talked about it a lot in the museum and when we would go on a tour. And one of the places we actually stopped at Mesa Verde, when you got to walk around by yourself, they actually showed where they dug reservoirs and then captured the water for be able to do their planting. So what the Three Sisters method is it is corn, beans, and some sort of squash or melon. And how this works is the corn grows up, and I drop the corn, the beans. So the corn grows up, and then you put a bean at the base of it, and the bean actually uses the corn to grow up. So it uses it kind of like a trellis. And then the squash grows on the ground, and it kind of shades out the bottom, keeps the soil nice and moist. Plus the corn also shades it too so that it doesn't get burned. So they work all really well together. So I've been wanting to try this for a couple of years. And I'm finally going to do it in this bed back here because I'm moving all the peppers that I normally plant in here in the root crops to a different area of the garden. But first, I already have a whole bunch of stuff growing in here. And most of it is sunflowers, which I don't even think we had. Did we have a sunflower in here last year, Donnie?
I thought we did.
I think maybe we did. We must have, because this is a lot of sunflowers. But also you can see that I have raspberries coming up. I'm going to save some of the raspberries that I can for friends of mine, but their roots go down so far, they've been a little bit harder to dig up out of this area. So I'm going to take out most of this. I actually do want a couple sunflowers in here and might as well use the ones that are already started in here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to remove our grates. This is to kind of keep the cats out from digging in here. And I'm going to thin this out, and then I'll be back and I'll show you how far apart we're going to space all of this. This is how many sunflowers I pulled out of the garden. If you're really careful, you can transplant these, but I have other types of sunflowers I really want to put in. So these, you can eat these. If their leaves are young enough, you can actually eat them. But I did find 2 raspberries that have enough roots that I'm going to go ahead and transplant them. So you can see behind me that I left a couple of sunflowers. And I'm going to set up a grid kind of pattern here in just a moment. I'm going to go take care of these real quick. Because I practice the square foot gardening method, I plant my plants closer together than normal. So in this bed here, I am going to do the square foot gardening method. So this is about 3 feet across, and it's about, I think it's 14 feet long or so. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant them 1 foot apart for the corn and also the beans, because we'll be putting a bean in with the corn as well. So what I want to do is I want to figure out, like, this is about 1 foot out. I'm just using a ruler because it's a little bit easier than a tape measure. And I'm going to make a line just like this, every foot going down the bed. Doesn't have to be perfect. And same thing right here. So I know that's about 1 foot out. That's about 1 foot out. So I'm just going to kind of eyeball this right here where it divides it up into 3s. So I'm just going to go along and do this. I used to actually have this marked a long time ago, but now it kind of faded off. So I'm just going to go through and I'm going to go like that. And I'm making a grid pattern that I can see in the soil. So I'll be right back after I get this all done. I finished marking the beds. I'm hoping that you can see this on camera, but there's a line here and a couple here, and then all the way down, I have all the lines and all the grids. So they're kind of faint, but I can see them, so I'm hoping that they show up on the camera. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take the corn and open it up. I'm not sure how many kernels I have in here, so I'm going to go through and I'm just going to put 1 in each of the squares to see how many we have. And if I have enough, I will come back and I will put 2. So I'm just going to set them on the soil just like this, right in the middle of the squares. This one's a little close to the sunflower, so we'll put it a little bit further off, but just like that. And I will show you what I'm doing here as soon as I'm done to push them into the soil to make it a little bit easier. So if there's a sunflower there, I'm putting it off a little bit to the side. And I'll be right back after I got this all done. Well, I had enough to put 2 in each one of the squares, and I actually have some left over. Now for the beans, that you can see in there, I haven't planted the corn yet. Hey, Lola. She's been out here wandering around, wondering what we're doing. Now you want to take one of the beans and you want to put it probably about an inch or 2 away from the corn. So I'm going to go around and I'm just going to set one bean right by each of the corns about an inch or 2. That way when they get large enough, you can see the corn bean, they'll be able to grab on to the plants. And I'll be back after that's done. I was just one bean short of having enough to do this, but that's still a lot of beans. I'm not too terribly worried about it. So the next thing I'm planting is this melon. You can do squash if you want too, but this melon does really well in my garden, and I wanted to plant it here because I know that it will do well. And I'm not planting it in the other part of my garden this year because I'm doing that a little bit different this year than I did last year. So what I'm going to do is I'm only going to plant 4 plants in here because you know that they need a lot more space to be able to run. So I haven't put down any of the corn or the beans yet, so I can kind of see where I need to space these out at. So I'm going to put one here in the middle right here, a couple of seeds there. Then I'm going to move down a couple more feet and put 3 more. I'm going to go down a couple more, put some more in right here, and I'm putting them in between. So you can see there's the corn and the bean, and then I'm putting the melon. Same thing here, and then I go down a couple more spaces, and I put a couple more seeds. This way, I can see where everything is at, and I know exactly how far I want to space them apart. Now, the next part is really easy. This is all you have to do to plant them. You just poke them down to the ground, probably about ½ an inch or so. And this way, I also know where the spacing is and how they're going to do. Cover them up a little bit and go your next row and just keep going in the rows. That way you know that you get all of them. Just like that. Just push them down, really easy. And I haven't watered this, so it's pretty dry. I'm not getting too terribly dirty. And then same thing for the other ones. These don't have to go down quite as far as the other ones. And then just keep going until you got them all pushed in and planted. It's that easy. That was really easy and a quick process. This is probably going to be the easiest bed that I have to plant out of all the beds I'm going to be planting today. So another thing that I want to talk about is you notice that I don't have any mulch on this bed at all. And it's because we have roly-polies in abundance. And when I say abundance, I mean a lot. And they actually kill off my seedlings. So last year I lost all of my huckleberries. I lost several of my melons and cucumbers. I had to restart so much stuff again. And I'm in a garden community like I've told you before. And I actually posted, hey, what does everybody do for roly-polies? And a lot of them said they removed their mulch because roly-polies are decomposers. But if they are given the opportunity to have something fresh, they will eat it. So it's a myth that they don't eat seedlings, because they do. And I have video proof of it from last year if you go back in my videos from last season. So I am going to leave this like this until the plants get pretty large. And once they're probably about maybe a foot or 2 high, then I will mulch this bed, because the roly-polies don't seem to go after older plants, because all of my perennials there in some of these beds have been totally fine. So I hope this inspires you to try a Three Sisters method. I've always wanted to try this, and you will get to see this throughout the growing season and see how it does. So thanks for watching, everyone. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and comment. Happy gardening, everyone.